So I want to show you the duoscope. So this is our microscope for our course, and you'll want to unpack it from the box. This is also where you'll want to store it when you're not using it. And when you first get it, you'll notice that you actually have to put the eyepiece. So it comes without the eyepiece, and the eyepiece is removable. So the eyepiece is removable. The eyepiece here has a magnification on it. You see that? So it's 10x. So it's magnifying your image 10 times its actual size. And then this will also magnify based on which objective lens you have pointed towards your slide. So our duo microscopes, they have 3 objective lenses, and the objective lenses have the magnification on the side. So the shortest has a red band, and it's 4x. And then we can rotate. When we rotate, this is called the nose piece. So you rotate around on the nose piece, so you can choose which objective we want pointed down. So the yellow banded one, if you saw that, the yellow banded one has a 10x on it. And then the last one we have has a blue band with 40x on it. And that's the highest magnification that we have. But notice how this works is, say you're using the 40x, and then you also have your 10x eyepiece, ocular lens. Total magnification is the ocular times the objective. So this would be 10 times 40, which would be 400x. So 400x would be total magnification. So I removed the top of the piece here with the screwdriver, and see, you need to add 3 AA batteries. This is not included with the kit, so you'll need to add those 3 AA batteries. And then once you do that, you'll want to replace this and then use a little screw and screwdriver and screw that back together. So let's do that. Okay, so now I've added the batteries to my duoscope, and the way to turn it on is to use this little power button here. And when you push the power button where you see the single line, notice that turns the bottom light on, and that's when you're using it as a compound microscope, meaning you can view flat slides. If you turn it to the double line, then you'll notice that this back light comes on. And that backlight is using your microscope as what we call a stereoscope, and that is designed for 3-dimensional objects. So I want to talk to you more about how to focus your microscope. Right now I've got the onion epidermis slide clipped to the stage, and that comes from our prepared slide box. And in order to view a microscope slide, you always start with the scanning objective pointed towards the stage. And you want to look through the ocular piece. And while you're looking through the ocular piece, you want to adjust your microscope using the adjustment knob that we have here. Now for our microscope, we only have one adjustment knob. And as I rotate it, notice that the stage of your microscope will raise and lower in response to me using this blue adjustment knob. Okay. On more advanced microscopes, usually you have 2 adjustment knobs. One is the coarse adjustment knob, which moves the stage up and down. And then there's also a fine focusing knob that will adjust at the higher magnifications. So what we want to do is we want to focus our microscope using the scanning lens first. And so, like I said, we're going to want to look through our microscope and we're going to want to adjust our microscope at scanning until the slide comes into focus. Now let me show you one other adjustment tool. So at the front of your microscope, you have the ability to adjust the condenser. And you do that by rotating this knob here where my thumb is. So this will adjust the amount of light that can enter your microscope. And you can adjust that based on how you would like to see. So there are 7 settings with this particular microscope. So you can play with that by rotating here and adjusting the amount of light that comes through. Remember, the light source is down here, but the amount of light is adjusted by this condenser focus lens. Okay, so now I'm going to focus my microscope at 400x total magnification. In order to do that, I'm going to need to use this 40x objective lens with the blue band. So right now I'm at 100x total magnification, and I'm going to rotate my 40x objective lens to point towards the slide. Notice it does get very close to the slide. It shouldn't hit the slide, but it will be very close. Now remember, in order to view slides at high power, so now we're at high power or 400x total magnification, in order to do that, you always have to start at scanning first, the 4x objective, then move to the 10x objective, and then finally move to the 40x. You need to be doing the steps in that order. In other words, you can't just jump to high power. If you do that, you risk cracking the lens of your microscope. So that's why we always start with scanning, then go to low, and then finally go to high. So once you've rotated to the high power lens, you should be able to look through the eyepiece, and if you do need to do any minor adjusting, use your adjustment knob here in blue. Let's take a look at how that looks at high power. So what I want to show you how to do now is how to prepare what's called a wet mount slide. And what you'll need your blank slides that came with your kit in your slide box, and you'll need some cover slips. And this is for some liquid material. So what we did is we went outside, we have some standing water, some pond water, and this is the pond water that we collected. You can see that there's definitely some creatures swimming around in the bottom there. So we want to see that under the microscope. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to stick this little dropper into the liquid, collect some of the liquid from the pond water, and then I'm going to put just a couple drops directly onto the slide. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to add one of these little cover slips. So the cover slips that come with our kit are these little circular pieces of plastic. And so what you do is you just set that down on top of your slide, like that. And that's all you need to do. So one of the things you want to remember when you're using your microscope as a stereoscope in order to see three-dimensional objects like this pollen cone, well, not only do you want to have it set so that the backlight is on instead of the bottom light, but you also only want to use the scanning objective, the objective with the red band, or the low power objective, which is the objective with the yellow band. So what we're wanting to see under the microscope here, we want to see the pollen cone up close. This is at 40x total magnification, and we're going to look for the pollen grains. See them there? So biology students, that's right, it's your turn now. Look like fun? So please navigate to your lab manual for the microscopy lab. It looks like this. Okay, so here you're going to learn about the parts of the microscope. Here's an image of the microscope. Please note, though, that our microscope that comes in our distance learning kits does not have two adjustment knobs. So rather, we just have one knob. Okay, here we can take a look at the role of each part of the microscope. So do notice that this is correct for our microscope. So when you're using the 4x objective, that is called scanning. When you're using the 10x objective, that is called low power. When you're using the 40x objective, that is called high power. But please do notice that we multiply the objective lens by this eyepiece lens, which for our microscope is in fact 10x. So when we do multiply these two values, this gives us the total magnification. So in other words, at scanning, total magnification would be 40x. At low power, total magnification is 100x. At high power, 400x. That's also shown here with this calculation. So I do want to show you that this is some instructions for how to take a picture through the microscope. Click that link and that'll explain how to use your cell phone as a camera for this laboratory activity. So you're going to be taking snapshots with your cell phone and inserting those into your laboratory report. Let's take a look at your laboratory report. Here's your laboratory report for your microscopy lab. So I've edited this assignment for you. I would like you to use your microscope in compound light microscope mode and view the 3 prepared slides that come with your kit. Those include the onion slide, the frog's blood, and the wool fibers. Then I'd like you to prepare 1 wet mount slide using the technique you saw me use in the video, including pond water or yeast solution or salt crystals or something else along those lines. That's liquid. I would like you to use the stereoscope mode on your microscope, which is designed for 3-dimensional objects. And so go outside and search for some things that you could see using your stereoscope mode, including things like hair, feathers, pollen, insects, etc. Then take those photos and please insert those photos here into your lab report. You do that by going up here where it says insert. See where it says insert pictures? Well, you'll need to have uploaded your picture to your computer so that you can select the device and then find the location where you have that picture, and then you can insert the picture here. Please give your picture a title and also the magnification that you use to view your specimen. So if you do more than these, then just copy and paste and make some additional locations on the lab report for your microscope images. But this is the minimum amount of exploration that we would like you to do for this activity. But feel free to look at whatever you think looks interesting. We will be using the microscope for some future labs. I'm not having us do the mold experiment yet or the brine shrimp experiment yet. We'll do those in a future lab. Okay, guys, have fun. We'll talk to you next time.